Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk about The Great Silence, which is a spaghetti western about a mute gunfighter who shoots his enemy's thumbs off with an automatic pistol. And if that's not enough for you, the film also carries a surprising political message. Okay, The Great Silence is an unusual spaghetti western for several reasons. The most striking thing about it is the snowy setting. It was set in the fictional town of Snow Hill, Utah, but it was filmed in the Italian Alps, much of it near the town of Cortina d'Ampezzo, which is a popular ski area. In fact, in the film's intro sequence, you can spot some skiers passing behind our hero as he's making his entrance on his horse. But don't pay attention to the skiers, they aren't part of the movie. Speaking of the intro to this film, it is absolutely sublime. This snowy, mountainous backdrop combines with a soaring, almost romantic theme by composer Ennio Morricone. The Great Silence has a unique look and feel that sets it apart from all other spaghetti westerns. The main conflict in The Great Silence is the eventual showdown between the slimy, effeminate, psychopathic bounty killer called Loco, played by Klaus Kinski, and the man known as Silence, who is our mute, thumb-shooting hero, played by the French actor Jean-Louis Trintignant. Now, Klaus Kinski had been in a ton of spaghetti westerns by this point, but the choice of Jean-Louis Trintignant as the hero really sets this film apart. He was the guy from the smash hit A Man and a Woman, which had made him an international star a couple of years before this. So he was certainly not an actor you'd expect to see as a gunfighter in a spaghetti western. He comes across as the thoughtful and sensitive type, but that's actually perfect for the role of Silence in this movie. The director of The Great Silence, Sergio Corbucci, can be thought of as the number 2 man in the pantheon of spaghetti western directors. The first, of course, being Sergio Leone. And there are some stark differences in these two directors' work. Though Leone's work in this genre tends to focus more on interpersonal honor, Corbucci's westerns tend to be more brutal and also to carry a strong leftist political message. The political message of The Great Silence is very interesting indeed. This film features a subversion of Leone's typical focus on bounty killers as his protagonists. In The Great Silence, the bounty killers are the villains, and what makes them villains is that they are agents of the government. In fact, the very character of our hero Silence was created by anti-government rage. When he was a boy, his family was brutalized by agents of the sheriff, and these government thugs had their own way of censoring this boy's speech, you might say. Government officials in The Great Silence are corrupt and vicious. Every single one of them is a scumbag, and the so-called bandits are the good guys. They're the oppressed victims who are fighting for their rights. So, to put this film into cultural context, we have to look back at the political climate in Italy in the late 1960s, which was a period of extreme upheaval and violence, coming from both the left and the right. Corbucci's work clearly identifies with the so-called New Left movement at that time. But this movement was not exactly congruent with what we call the left today. This New Left movement was strongly anti-authoritarian and was united in opposing fascism. And though today the term fascist is often used to mean somebody whose views I don't like, in Corbucci's day, the term referred to the actual historical movement in Italy, remnants of which still existed well after the end of World War II. But this Italian New Left movement opposed even the existing center-left government in Italy, which was in power at that time. The interesting thing about the political views expressed in The Great Silence is that today we would label them not so much as leftist, but as libertarian. The anti-authoritarian message is very clear. The state, the government, is nothing but a bunch of thugs who claim a monopoly on the right to use violence. And they use this self-proclaimed right to use violence to brutalize and steal from the people they rule over. Well, if we just take that at face value and don't add any collectivist economic ideas, this is pure libertarian stuff. And today we would locate this rhetoric as coming mostly from the right side of the political spectrum. But that tells you how much things have changed since this film was made. And it also highlights how, in actual practice, the left-right political spectrum has as much to do with historical context and even tribalism as it does underlying principles. Okay, unfortunately for some would-be viewers of this film back in the day, The Great Silence was never actually released in the UK or the United States, and this was due to a conflict over the ending of the film. The ending that Corbucci shot was so brutal and nasty and so at odds with the expectations of nice, normal people that it caused a rift with one of the distributors. And as a result, this film was never available in the US until the advent of home video decades later. So that's it for The Great Silence. Definitely check this film out, even if you're not a spaghetti Western fan. It really is a unique and beautiful film that you won't soon forget. Thank you for watching. I'm Rod Richards. Until next time.